The year is 2023. PBS Plus has just launched, bringing the world's streaming services to 4,387. How can anyone be expected to go through all this content? Fear not, loyal passengers. Captain Joe Shoes and his first mate Mez are here to travel through space and time to bring you the best nuggets pop culture has to offer. Strap in. It's time for the JoeMeZ podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 350 of the JoeMeZ podcast. I'm Mez, and my co-host, as always, is
the magistrate of Caravan City, Captain Joe Shoes from the JoeMeZ podcast.
Yeah, you are, buddy. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Action-packed, Gomez. My life is pure action. That's why they call me Big Action Man.
Big Action Man. That's a good nickname.
That's what they say. They say, oh, there go the Big Action Man.
Here we come with the action.
Here he come, the one and only. He pretty big. He pretty action. He a man. He all of them. He the Big Action Man.
God bless. God bless Johnny Rods.
Yeah.
Not really. So what's up, bro? What are you doing?
Big weekend, Gomez. Had a little traveling, coming off a holiday.
Oh, yeah.
3-day weekend for a lot of people, including myself.
I was going to say.
Nice,
whoa,
very evil.
Nice.
You know, all these things. We got some AEW figure reveals, a lot of stuff coming out of the Fan Fest there for their pay-per-view weekend. A lot of new Danhausen toys. So if you like your Danhausen, if you're a Fanhausen, you're a happy man. We're getting acclaimed figures.
Oh,
they do this. The Billy Gunn figure, the Daddy Ass figure coming out looks exactly like Lex Luger.
That's good. That's what we want.
You know, not everything could be a home run, but you know,
the Danhausen looks good.
I mean, it's Danhausen, I would think, is probably easier to do because you're not doing an actual human face. You know, you just have to kind of nail his paint, and you know, it's pretty sufficient.
Yes, I agree. I've never really noticed the detail. I have a little bendy, and it's just a little silly. But as long as it's got his face paint, it's a Danhausen. That's it.
Well, that's always been the knock on Super 7 as well, that when they do animated characters, they look great. But when they do actual people, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Really? So I've really noticed that. I've never really paid attention to their human characters, I guess, you know? I'm like, oh, look at that Simpson.
Yeah, their Simpsons look phenomenal.
I'm like, that's the best. Look at that.
I just got the Wave 1 of the G.I. Joes. The Ultimates in. They look good. Happy with them. I love their Thundercats line. I'm not being a completist with the Thundercats at this point. Now I'm just kind of picking and choosing. And maybe if some happen to go on clearance at some point, I'll, pick and choose there as well if I can get in. But, I want to make sure I have all the main characters now. That's pretty much my focus. Still waiting for Silverhawks Wave 1. I don't know how far I'm going to go with that. I did cancel all my other waves for Silverhawks after the ones they showed off at New York Comic Con last year looked really, really bad. So I preemptively canceled everything. I could not cancel Wave 1 because I had that actually ordered with Super 7 as opposed to like Big Bad Toy Store or something. So once those come in, if they come in, we'll see.
I got an email the other day for this badass Sabretooth toy from Mondo. It's X-Men, the animated series. Yeah. Oh, man, that's a sexy toy, bro.
I'll tell you, there's those X-Men figures that I guess it's got to be Hasbro, I think, doing them or whatever. But they're like the X-Men 92 cartoon figures, but they come in like VHS style packaging.
Oh, that's perfect.
And they look incredible. Like Mr. Sinister was one of my favorite toys as a kid. The character of Mr. Sinister just looks so fucking cool, right? Yeah. Always did. And I remember getting him at like a flea market when I was a kid, and he had the little thing in his head that would light up and stuff.
Light up, yep.
Oh, it was so cool. And then
badass,
that was one of the early figures they made for this line was this Mr. Sinister. And I just got me where I was like so itchy to order Mr. Sinister. But I know you can't just have Mr. Sinister, right?
Nah, you gotta.
If you get Mr. Sinister, you need
gotta
the
fight
X-Men.
somebody.
You gotta fight
Gotta
someone.
fight somebody, bro.
And he's got to
Come
have
on.
other bad guys with him. I was like, I
X-Men.
cannot dip my toe in these waters.
What those last couple X-Men movies? I don't remember. I guess it was the last one. Maybe it was the Phoenix one, right? They were teasing Mr. Sinister. That was like the post-credit scene, like, oh, we're gonna get Mr. Sinister. I really would have liked to see how they did that in the movie version.
It would have been, I would have been interested. Like
now
I said,
you won't get it.
There's just something about that character that always, it's the look. I know it was the look, he just looked so different than everybody else. He obviously he was a mutant, but he didn't look like a regular person like everybody else. So that's why I always kind of gravitated toward the Beast. Has always been my favorite X-Man. I love
Beast. It's like Venom. Venom got popular because his design was just, everyone was like, oh, look at this crazy looking Spider-Man. This is awesome.
Long ass tongue. And
so it just got, that's how it got popular. Venom. Get out of here.
Oh, good stuff to start. Thank you guys for listening to the JoeMeZ podcast. Remember to hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're listening or watching this podcast, whether that be YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. Leave some comments down on the YouTube video if that's where you're watching. Remember to screenshot that review, tweet it to us at JoeMeZ, and we got a couple 8x10s left, so we'll send you one as a thank you if you do. But Gomez, like I said, busy weekend for me. I kind of took some time, enjoyed the holiday. In the past, I've spoken about my own mental health and getting depressed about some things, but I want to let everyone know I'm doing okay right now.
Oh, great. We love to hear that. Good.
I'm doing okay. I had a nice weekend. I feel very relaxed lately. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited to do this podcast and excited to talk about all this stuff that we watched this week. Not as much stuff, I think, in terms of different variety of stuff, but I spent a lot of time on a show that you mentioned last week, Gomez.
Oh, yeah. What
you brought it to my attention that Arnold Schwarzenegger did a series.
Bro, am I the only one who brought this to your attention? Because I don't see nobody. This show doesn't exist.
No, and I'm like telling people about it over the weekend, and they're like, "Wait a minute, what?
This is insane."
And how this slipped under my we talk about Arnold all the, we love Arnold. We're sitting here talking about Sylvester Stallone's daughter's doing a show as if we give a fuck about that, and somehow this slipped under the radar.
Crazy.
I can't believe it. This is on the front page of Netflix. People must be watching it because it was in the top 10.
Good.
Of what's hot on Netflix right now.
Good.
It's called FUBAR. It's the story of a CIA operative, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's getting ready to retire, but then he discovers some big family secret and gets called back in for one last mission.
One last mission, baby.
And it is, I gotta say, it's 8 episodes. They're all around 45 minutes to an hour, so it is a little bit of an investment. Sure. I watched all 8 episodes. I don't know how far along you are.
I'm about episode 4 or 5. I'm halfway through there.
Okay, like I said, they're longer episodes.
Sure.
So take your time with it. Me, I just got in one of those moods where I just let the good times roll, my man, because this show takes Arnold, puts him in the situations that you want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in.
Yep.
Gives him the kind of dialogue that you want to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger have. Makes references and lines to jokes, from all the Arnold past movies. At one point, there's a line about him going, "Oh, look, it's a chopper." It's great. Shit like that is great. If you have not heard about this show, but you're a baby of the 80s, you're an Arnold fan, you're an action fan, do yourself a favor. Go watch this show.
So good.
So you agree?
Yeah, it's so good. Yes, from the first episode, just the dynamic, just you get the vibe right away, like, oh, this is going to be a good time, right away.
Right off the bat, one episode in, I was like, oh, I am here for this. Just early on, the one thing I am kind of sick of is the use of this Rolling Stones song, it feels like it's being everywhere. So the show opens with a "Please allow me to introduce myself." Again, that's like the whole thing. Arnold walking in. Meanwhile, you go to the movies, you see the new Indiana Jones trailer, another fucking old man, and it's like, "Please allow me to introduce myself." So now, like, I'm afraid to turn on the Stallone show, like him walking into his daughter's house, where it's like, "Please allow me to introduce myself." Like, is this all we got?
You a Rolling Stone fan, Joe?
I don't know that I like the hits.
I think if we just put a whole bunch of Rolling Stone songs in front of you, you'd be like, oh, I like a lot more than I think. Like, right, they probably got more hits than we probably think of, right? But yeah, I mean, they're okay. But they're definitely the old man band. I bet you'll be playing in the Martin Scorsese movie that comes out later this year. We're gonna hear it. It's just
like Brad Pitt. They're gonna play like some Irish guy, and please allow me to introduce myself. Everywhere. But aside from that, once I get past the overuse of this Rolling Stone song, it is everything I possibly want Arnold doing. And you got Monica Barbaro playing his daughter here, who is super cute. She looks familiar. I couldn't really place her from anything. Turns out she was in the Top Gun Maverick movie. Yeah, her dynamic with Arnold as the dad-daughter relationship, stupendous. The show is really well casted, and the acting is really good. I believe all these relationships. I just really like this show, and that's why I had to burn right through it. And I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Like, there's no more for me to watch right now.
That's a good problem. That's always
it's a really good problem. I mean, I don't know if it's the kind of thing that you can do multiple seasons of. Like, I mean, at any given point, Arnold could wake up and be like, I don't feel like doing it.
Yes, agreed.
You know,
I'm surprised he did this. I didn't look into it. I wonder what drew him to do a Netflix show.
Like, I can't imagine what they paid him. You know, we talk about how Netflix just paying out the nose for whatever it is that for their original programming, but like to get Arnold doing his first series ever, at this stage in his life,
deal. Just in general, he don't really do nothing. Like, he hasn't done a movie in a while, and even that, it's sporadic here and there. So this is a big deal. And I mean, promotion, bro. Can we get some billboards? Can we get some ads? Something, right? I guess.
I'm glad you like it though, because like, I know when I get these types of shows, when I get I know Fast and the Furious, I'm more of an apologist for. Like, people want to sit there and nitpick all the stuff. Yo, I've got action, I've got stuff, I'm being entertained. So I kind of become an apologist for this genre, you know? Sure. And I'm very entertained by this show. And I really think everyone out there should go watch it.
Love it. Look at that. My goodness. I watched a couple things. One thing I want to talk about, right? I'm watching comedy. So on HBO Max, on Max, there was a new comedy special from Sarah Silverman. You ever get into Sarah Silverman, Joe?
Not the way I would like to have been inside Sarah Silverman.
Yeah.
There was a long period of time where I had a huge crush on Sarah Silverman, probably early 2000s.
She's very pretty. She's a pretty girl. And
absolutely.
That's your thing. Sure. I just, I never really
I like chicks who are shit talkers. I do.
Oh, she talks a lot of shit. Yes.
I like chicks who look like they can verbally abuse me.
Oh, that's you. That's her. That's your dream girl then. Because that's what she does.
Legitimately, she would have been up. Like, if I could have gotten a date with Sarah Silverman in like 2003, like I would, like when she was dating Jimmy Kimmel, I'm going, God damn,
fucking
Jimmy Kimmel gets everything. The fucking Man Show guy? Come on.
Exactly. It's just some loser from the Man Show. What are we doing? So she had a stand-up special. It's called Someone You Love. It's a little under an hour. And it was good. I've never really watched a stand-up. I know she says like crazy things. Like, she's very like, ooh, oh my God. And she like leans into it. And I liked it. I'm watching this though, and I'm like, this is what she always does, right? This is her thing. And I'm just thinking, how did Disney let this girl be a Disney princess?
A Disney princess, right?
Like, how did that happen? Because I'm like, this is how she's always been. Like, this is what we know her as. Like, she's saying these cock balls, she's being outrageous, and it's like, who'd be a great Disney princess?
But she's even said that. Like when she
best.
got cast in that, it blew her mind. She didn't think she had any chance, and then it happened. She's like,
great.
It's nuts.
And she's great at it. It's just so funny. I would recommend it. It's not the favorite one that I've watched so far. I still like a couple, but I thought she's funny. She's got some good jokes, and quick and easy. Wanda Sykes had a Netflix special. I didn't get to watch that, but that's next on the list. I've never really watched Wanda Sykes either, but I'm trying new things. We're trying comedy, baby.
So now let me ask. You said this was on Max.
Yes.
How was your experience with switching over from HBO Max to Max? Because God forbid they just let you download an update. You got to download an entirely new app.
I don't even understand how there's a new app. Like, what are we doing, guys? Just fucking the name change. What the fuck? What? What are we doing?
Put up new cover art. That's what we do with the podcast. Whenever we get here's a new piece of art.
It's ridiculous.
You had to download an entire.
It was easy.
I will say, thankfully. I think they did a smart thing with the timing of it, because they waited until it was the finale of Succession. And if you were a Succession watcher, obviously this is the series finale. People are going nuts. Now that we've mentioned it on this podcast, I know you've watched a few episodes. I still have not checked it out, but I see it all the time now with people talking about it.
Yes.
So now that it's kind of in my peripheral, I feel like I'm seeing a lot more of it, especially now that we've reached the end. But they waited until this weekend to do the transfer, because if you're a Succession watcher, obviously you want to watch that finale. Well, now you got no choice but to download this new fucking app.
Damn right, bro. You're damn right. But that's ballsy. They should have did it like 2 weeks ago, right? To make sure everything's working. Because only a couple days before the finale. Whew, I would have been nervous. It was also the Barry series finale. Really weird to do 2 series finales the same night, because one just totally buries the other one. Like, you know what I mean?
Now, we spoke about Barry when it first premiered a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I had watched maybe half of season 1, never went back to it. Not because I didn't like it. It just kind of just fell off my radar for a little bit. From the people I've seen online, they do not look to be as enthused about like this final season. So have you kept up with it at all?
No, I watched season 1. I love season 1. And then I just never got back into it when season 2 started. Say Succession, I watched season 1. I liked it. I was really good. I never just got around to it. With Barry, I hear like sometimes it forgets it's a comedy. Like it gets like real heavy with like PTSD and trauma and shit like that. Like all the hallmarks nowadays for genre television. So that's the main complaint I hear about Barry. But I heard it wrapped up nicely. I heard it was a good finale. I heard Succession was a good finale. 2 very good series finales. So I'll definitely catch up to those.
Speaking of finales, Ted Lasso should be this week as well, right?
This week is the last episode of Ted Lasso. I have to catch up. I think I'm 2 behind. I'm on like episode 8 or something. So we will catch up so that we can watch it this week. I don't want nothing getting spoiled on this one.
Yeah.
People can't control themselves. Ted Lasso got fired? What? Oh my God. Silly shit like that. So I'm excited though. Like I said, even though I'm not loving the season, I still want to see. This is the plan, right? They always said it was going to be 3 seasons. So this is the story they wanted to tell. So let's see how they wrap it up. I'm excited for that. So
now what you said with Barry about kind of forgetting it was a comedy, that was a big complaint about Ted Lasso in season 2.
Yes.
Ted Lasso got very heavy, very into mental health. Bro. It's very emotional. Like there are times where like I'm watching that season 2 and relating to a lot of the feelings, and like I'm breaking. This is supposed to be a funny, lighthearted,
feel good. Remember, this is how feel. Oh, it made us feel good about ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm a piece of shit.
I'm sitting there like sobbing over shit going on in Ted Lasso, and I came back for more.
See, season 3 has been a good mix of the up and down. Like they don't bash you over the head with the
correct.
With the shit like that. Did you ever watch Bojack Horseman? Because I hear that's a show too. That starts as a comedy and then it gets kind of really like deep into like depression and mental health and shit like that. where it's like it forgets it's a comedy. At
When it
times.
first came out, quite a few people like hit me up like, "Shoes, this is your type of show, dude." And I'm like, oh, "Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out," and just never did.
Yeah, I think
I may have
watched
to
one or
put
two
that on the
episodes.
list.
It's a long list. The list is getting long, bro. They don't stop coming. What
So
else
you
you
checked
watch
out
here,
some
baby?
comedy. What else did you?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. What else did you check out?
I watched some scary movies. I had a movie night.
Oh.
Ooh, with some friends. Joe, you know what masterpiece I watched?
Oh,
I think about making you watch it, but I don't know. Sometimes too much. Watch Basket Case 3. Oh, baby. If you thought the first Basket Case.
we got up to 3. How many is there?
There's only 3 of them. There's only 3 of them. It's the same guy. He directs them all, and they all like take place like after, like it's a story, like it's a serial story. It's not like a random.
Of course.
Part 2 ends and part 3 picks right up with it. You know, there might be some baby basket cases in this one.
Of course.
Does that sound like something you're interested in checking out,
No.
Joe? Because I've been wondering for 6 weeks of horror, of maybe doing like sequels. Like maybe you should watch Hellraiser 2. Because before you get angry, because Hellraiser 2 gives you, it's all about the backstory of Pinhead in the box. Isn't that stuff that you complain about, that you want more?
It is. It genuinely
right?
is.
So when I watched Hellraiser 2, I was like, I kind of should make Joe watch this because it kind of explains some things and maybe he'll come around.
So over all the years that we've done 6 weeks of horror, and this is going to come around a lot sooner than even we realize.
Yes, that's why I'm starting to think about it.
Like it's basically already June here, which is crazy. But is Hellraiser the biggest, like, my opinion, that you were like shocked about?
No, because even Evil Dead, like I thought you would have fun with Evil Dead because it's silly. I thought you would have fun with the silliness, and instead you hated the silliness. Like the silliness is what made you not like it, and so that was like, whoa, that was like, oh wow, it totally, because that's the thing. I make a list, and then I'll show you like the first week something, and then you'll have the total opposite. And then I'm like, well, maybe I need to change the whole list now because he just like, I thought this was going to be a good thing. And now he hated it. So he's definitely going to hate this one. It's very stressful to come up with this thing, bro.
Remember Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Yes, that's another one. With the silly, I was like, it's so silly. It's fun. What the fuck is this, bro? And I'm like, whoa, scratch, never mind. Let's show him this person getting stabbed then. Fuck it. That's it. It's too silly. Enjoy the head getting chopped off. That's what you get. Oh, so that's why I get very nervous. I watch movies and I'm always thinking, listen, contrary to popular belief, I want you to have a good time. I'm not trying to get you angry. If it happens, all right, that's the benefit of it. But no, I want us to have a fun, good time. Like, remember that? Yeah, that was fun, right? That's the best.
I don't know what movie it'll be or what movie has it, but I know for a fact that now, after today, the first movie of 6 weeks of horror, I'm going to hit play, and all of a sudden it's going to be, please allow me to introduce myself. No.
I'm sure I could find some, because that is, I mean, when you say it, that is definitely one of the most overplayed songs in the thing. It must be cheap to license, right? How can they all afford this song?
Exactly, right? And these guys, the Rolling Stones, are like billionaires.
So funny. Maybe it's in public domain. It's so old. These fucking old bastards. Oh man. So yeah, I just had a movie night, watched some horror movies. There's nothing new's been hitting me recently in the horror. I'm getting kind of sad. I'm like, nothing. Evil Dead was good, but it wasn't for me like that. So I'm looking at
Well, now we're kind of into blockbuster season too, right?
Yes, exactly. There's a horror movie opening this week. It's supposed to be good. It's called Boogeyman, but that's not really my type of shit. But I'll go see it because it's the movie. It's the popular thing. But so I've been looking. I I haven't been watching as much movies as I like lately because I don't know. I'm not saying there's no good movies out there. That's not me. I haven't been finding them. I got to do a better job, I think. Look.
Well, we've been really busy. We got a wheel we got to keep up with here.
Oh, the wheel. Your favorite.
Well, Gomez, you mentioned last week that we weren't planning on watching this, but if we got to it, we got to it. And I know you got to take your daughter to go see it. And I got home from my little travels this weekend. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go see this movie too. New release in the theaters. The Little Mermaid.
Ooh, yes, the big release, baby.
The big release this week. Live action Little Mermaid starring Halle Bailey. You know, got to make sure I get that.
Not Catwoman.
Why is their name so close?
I hate that. Pick a new name. Come on.
Now, for those of you who have been listening to this podcast for a very long time, you know my relationship with The Little Mermaid.
It's his favorite.
I fucking hate it. And it has nothing to do with the movie. It's because of the women that have been in and out of my life who love it. And now I associate that movie with them. And especially when you're in my age group, most girls my age or around it, you know, within a couple years, either way, right? That was their Disney princess. So The Little Mermaid has played a big role in my romantic life for decades now, and I hate it. And I've met Jodie Benson, the very nice woman who did the voice of Ariel in the original, and you know, I had to go with someone who loved The Little Mermaid at that time, and I just don't have a lot of good experiences with The Little Mermaid. And of course, so why wouldn't someone like me go opening weekend to see this live action movie alone?
Punny, he likes pain. He likes it.
If I'm gonna do Little Mermaid at this point, I'm not going on a date. I'm not swiping right on Tinder or anything, looking for someone to hang out with. I know that I have to keep this to myself because I can't go through another. I don't want to do anything with anyone anymore because I don't want someone to like something. And then when that inevitably fails, now I end up hating things. So I'm going to die a very lonely old man.
This poor guy.
But like I'm doing okay. Remember I just said I'm doing okay.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I'm good with this. But
this was you taking back the Little Mermaid because
I took it back.
This is a new mermaid.
I've empowered myself. Now. This is my mermaid now.
Oh yeah, bro. This movie was for all the parents. Because this movie is over 2 hours long, which I didn't know at first.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Bro,
I had to go look. I'm like, there is no way the original. The original was like 80 minutes.
It's like 80 minutes shorter. It's like nothing. It's like two movies. They did two Little Mermaids in this time. It was crazy because we went with a family. We went with some girls, you know, Shiloh and her friends. We went to a 6:40 show and we're like, all right, no big deal. And then we see the movies 2 hours. And we're like, yo, these kids ain't getting out of here till 9 o'clock. I hope they're going to start getting tired and grumpy and shit like that. Thankfully, everyone held it together, but 2 hours of that's not kid movie. Kid movie's supposed to be quick and easy, one in and out. This is not for children.
This is not for children. But number one, where do you stand on The Little Mermaid? You come in liking it, loving it, hating it. What's your relationship? It's fine.
I like it. My wife loves it. It's her shit. Like you said, she's one of these ladies. Perfect age right there. That Little Mermaid was her thing. So she was excited. This was for her. It's like, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it with Shiloh. This was her, you know, it's her moment here. Her Black Panther.
And how does your daughter feel? She liked the original?
She likes it. Yes. It's not one of her top ones, but she likes Little Mermaid. She likes the song. She has shirts. You know, she's into it.
So is she excited going into this?
She's excited. She's always excited to go to the movies. Okay. She loves going to the movies. So she's like, she sees the thing like that new Pixar movie, Elemental, whatever. And she's like, oh, what's that? Can we see that? I'm like, yeah, it's in the movie. She's like, oh, okay. Oh, she gets excited. So you tell Little Mermaid in the theater, it's like, oh, yes, let's go. Definitely.
So I don't know that I'm not going to say I was excited for it, but I've been watching these live action Disney movies.
Sure, you've seen all the other ones, right?
With them. They have been a different variety of hit and or miss, I think.
A lot of miss.
I would say a lot of more miss than hit.
Sure.
But still 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't realize this till I'm already in the theater too. So I didn't know that going in. But I will say, I kind of enjoyed this movie. I had a decent time with it. It's long, don't get me wrong, and there are parts of it where it's like this could definitely be shorter. This could definitely be shorter. There are giant sections where they could cut this movie. And also, for those of us who grew up seeing the original, this is what I mean when I say this is really for you. They didn't change anything. They just made shit longer. It's not like they took like the Peter Pan movie that just came out on Disney Plus, where they switched some things around and made it, kind of less troublesome, I guess, but made, definitely a different interpretation of the same story. The Little Mermaid is not that. The Little Mermaid is the Little Mermaid. You're still getting the same characters, singing the same songs. You're getting extra songs for good measure.
Yes,
we got that Scuttlebutt song.
Scuttlebutt. Prince Eric has a song.
Prince Eric has a song in this.
Yeah.
We get the one thing that is different is Ursula and King Triton are estranged brother and sister in this. That didn't exist in the original, but it was a plot point in the musical in 2007 when that was on Broadway. So if you're a Little Mermaid person and you have the time, I mean, I don't see like what there is to not like about this, because it's essentially the same movie.
I'll say, so my complaints, this is a complaint about everything though, is the movie's too dark. And I'm not talking about the Little Mermaid. Like, I'm not being one of those guys. This movie is dark. Like Black Panther, Underwater is too dark. Only Avatar, which isn't fair because Avatar had 100 years to make their movie. But anything else that's in the water, it's like, bro, can I get some color? Can I see some shit?
Granted, they did this movie. It took 3 years because this began filming before the pandemic.
So they did have time.
Things shut down. Things got retimed. The kid who does the voice of Flounder was like 13 when he recorded his lines. Now he's like graduating high school and stuff. But there's especially the scenes with Ursula are very, very dark. And you kind of lose the perspective of the background and the sets and stuff like that. And then the fight scene at the end, especially where she turns into like kaiju Ursula, I mean, it almost feels like you're in a blackout storm. Like you just little flashes of lightning kind of make things appear, but otherwise it's very, very dark. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I feel like Ursula, like I thought Melissa McCarthy would be having a little more fun. Like she's okay, she's fine, but I don't know. I thought it'd be a little more over the top, a little more something to it. I don't know.
I felt that way with King Triton as Javier Bardem.
Too. Motherfucker was sleepwalking through.
I
was like, okay, cool. And he's just like, Prince Ariel, please do not do that. That is not like he's just like mumbling, like. So like I thought it'd be more fun. Even like Under the Sea, like it wasn't as fun like as the cartoon. Like that should be a fun.
See, because a lot of the stuff with this movie is made to be animated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's like one of the big things in Under the Sea where like Sebastian talks about, we got the big crustacean band and like they
sing the songs
and they're playing the instruments and stuff. Well, now they can't do that because we have to have realism.
Yeah, silly.
Like, we got a fucking talking crab.
They didn't change the lyric though. They could have changed the lyric then.
And they did change other lyrics.
Yes.
The song.
So it's not like why would you do that? Oh, this fish is playing, and the fish is just like bloop bloop bloop. Like, what are we doing? So like those are the complaints. But the story is the story. So it's fine. And the girl, the mermaid, she's fantastic. Her voice is crazy. She's great.
I think she was incredible. Her voice was great. I think during the songs too, I think they did her a disservice from the editing because they would cut away into these long shots and they would take away from her reactions and her facials. You did the girl a disservice. She's there acting her ass off and you're cutting into these other weird shots. Like what are we doing?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing, but I had some complaints here,
Yeah, like I think this is one of the better live action Disney movies.
It is.
Like I will say, and I keep going back to this, but Jungle Book is still my favorite out of the ones that they've redone. Other ones are not very good. Beauty and the Beast is like, it's okay. Lion King, I guess I'm like, okay. Aladdin, I'm like, okay. Little Mermaid, at the end of it, once I was able to wake up my legs from sitting down so long, I was like, oh, that wasn't bad. I had a decent time at the theater. It's not as bad as it could have been, I guess.
I agree, definitely.
And apparently the box office, was monster. From what I'm seeing, the $95.5 million opening up to 117.5 with the long weekend for the holiday. So, and no one wants to release the budget on this, but apparently the budget was something in the $250 million range. But I think a lot of that too is because of the amount of reshoots and pauses and everything. Because
that shit adds up.
COVID. Yeah,
definitely. All right. Well, so we're you want to throw a number?
I was gonna say let's throw some music. Why not?
Let's throw some music here.
Are you a man? A double main man? Are you a man? A triple main man? A man? A quadruple main man? Are you a man? Are you a man?
Little Mermaid live action remake, baby. Where's this falling on your main man standards?
Look, despite my prior relationship with the story of The Little Mermaid, it is a movie I saw in theaters as a kid. It was like we went on some school field trip to the movie theater. So I remember liking it as a kid. Obviously, I have different feelings now because of the associations romantically that I've had in my life. But like, it's not perfect by any means. There is enough here to complain about. All in all, I think it's fine. I would say I'm going to go triple main man. I will watch it again. The songs are still pretty fun. I think when they highlight the girl playing Ariel, Halle Bailey, I think she's incredible. And everyone else, I think, is kind of passable.
You didn't like Aquafina? The scuttlebutt?
Didn't bother me. Didn't bother me.
She don't bother me.
You know what?
It works for an annoying bird.
And that's the thing. I see people complaining about this song, but I actually liked it.
The song's fun.
It was upbeat. It was fun. The lyrics were actually kind of Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote it.
Yes, of course he did. Yeah, I know.
So it's like that's up his alley.
Yes.
Where he's at his best. But I actually found it to be like a kind of toe tapping kind of moment.
Yeah.
Whereas like we said, some of the other things just didn't have that kind of upbeat feel that we associate with the vibe of The Little Mermaid. So that was one of the moments where I'm like, listen, everyone else could go fun because people are taking their shots right now online.
Of course.
People are coming with pitchforks and torches for the fucking Little Mermaid movie, and it's like, motherfuckers, calm down. It's not that bad.
It's like what they do, that. I'm gonna go 2.5 main men. It's fine. It's it's long, but it's not like draggy. Like when the songs kick in, you're gonna have a good time, especially if you're familiar with the story.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I'm glad we watched this.
Yeah, it's fine. It worked out. We watched something else though, Joe.
Yeah, we had a special wheel.
Spin that wheel,
but
baby.
We didn't know if we were going to get to the movie, so we said we'll have something to watch, and it's nice to have something to watch at home. That way everyone can join in, and this was on our friend Max.
Yes, Max. Superman 1978, Joe. Oh, baby. This is a classic, right?
This is a classic. Everybody talks this up as the preeminent superhero movie, right?
Sure.
And we've got what, 5 of these Christopher Reeve Superman movies?
I think 4.
Okay, 4. I've never seen any of them. This is a first for me, so kind of glad this came up on the wheel. It's nice to go back and see these kinds of things. We're talking 45-year anniversary this year.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize. That's crazy. 45.
So a good time to see this movie. IMDb description, JoeMeZ.
What do we got here for Superman?
An alien orphan is sent from his dying planet to Earth, where he grows up to become his adoptive home's first and greatest superhero.
Perfect description.
And we all know Superman, right? Superman is indoctrinated into you from like 8 seconds after you slide out of the womb.
It's true. You know all our lives. We don't have a life without Superman.
It really is. You go up calling people, "Oh, he's a Superman." The phrase Superman means something. And it always goes back to this character that we've known since the 1930s, created by Siegel and Schuster, right? We all know Superman. And for years, I have heard nothing but, that Christopher Reeve Superman movies, man, those were good movies. And IMDb apparently agrees. This one's rated 7.4 on IMDb.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes, 94% fresh.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like this movie. A lot of people hold this in high regard. But you know who doesn't? Me.
What?
Because I watched this movie going, you guys gotta be fucking idiotic.
Let me ask.
Did we get a fucking lobotomy before we watched this movie?
Let me ask. Hold on. What's your relationship with Superman? Like, you haven't watched these, but have you read a comic? Have you watched a cartoon? Like, what's Superman?
I mean, I've watched like the Superman cartoons from like the 90s. Remember, like when Batman the animated series got hot, they had the Superman one came out, right?
Sure.
So I watched that, but I've honestly never been much of a Superman fan.
Sure.
Because my thing with Superman, I think this is a general thing. If you're gonna have a shot at Superman, is how the fuck do you beat Superman when he's impervious to everything, and there's only one motherfucker in all of Metropolis that can afford kryptonite? Like, like we love Batman because he has weaknesses and he's got this incredible rogues gallery of villains who are in essence more interesting than Batman himself.
Yes.
But it draws you in because you like seeing the repartee between the two parties. And with Superman, I don't feel like we have that. Like, outside of who's Superman's villain? Okay, Lex Luthor. Well, who else? Well, there's that guy that killed him when I was in the 6th grade. They made $1 million on comic books, but is his name Darkseid? Maybe Doomsday. Yeah, like, see what I mean? Like, who the fuck are these people? So I definitely do not go into this loving Superman, but I'm also going in with a very open mind because I'm feeling like I'm going to watch this good movie that people talk highly about. And it is not.
So the movie starts in Krypton, right? Showing like his home planet blowing up. You on board there? Like, is that like a right off the bat? You like, what the
right
fuck
off the bat, I have an issue with this. Because Marlon Brando plays Jor-El, his father.
Yeah, it's a big deal, bro.
And he's got this big S on his chest, which I guess is not for Superman.
No,
it is just the family crest now.
Yes, it is.
Which is fucking stupid.
That's what it is, though. That's always what it was.
No, it was retconned to be that because I looked it up.
Okay.
It was Brando that pushed to have it on. He goes, but that way it makes sense for when he wears it later. And then they retconned it in the books where that was like the family crest, apparently. I think it's fucking stupid. But then, so he's like this elder on Krypton. And then there's a trial. We push Zod out of the picture. We freeze him in glass, which is, I mean, if you want to keep people imprisoned, I mean, putting them in glass is a good place, I suppose.
Not a bad idea.
But then he's like, hey, other elders, planet's about to blow up. We should probably get that. And like, take into account that Brando is sleepwalking the fuck out of this. Like, Brando could not give a fuck about being in this movie. He got paid a ton of money, made him the highest paid actor in Hollywood at the time for doing this. And then he ends up suing the people who made the movie because he wasn't getting an appropriate amount for of royalties that he felt that was written into his contract. So this movie got filmed kind of with part 2 at the same time. And the reason they cut out all the Brando footage out of part 2 is because they didn't want to have to pay him royalties on that after he sued them for part 1. But my man did not give a fuck. He showed up to work like me on a fucking Monday after a 3-day weekend. But it's just like everything happens so suddenly, from everything with Krypton imploding. I just feel like, especially for an origin story, there's so little explanation. There's so little build. It's an origin story. That's what this is for. Take the time, explain the things. Now, when Clark finally gets to, I say Clark, he's not Clark at this point, but when he finally gets to Earth and he meets the Kent family, and he starts growing up. We do get these little, like a kind of like a montage of him growing up,
Yeah,
and doing little things where he's got to hide his powers, but they feel like so tiny in comparison to like what Superman, like the scope of what his powers actually are. That when he finally just like shows up, like, hey, I'm a grown adult and now I'm a reporter, and he's like in the office getting interviewing for the job, and it's just like, well, of course you got there, Kent, you're with Miss Lane here. Like everything just seems so circumstantial, coincidental. Like I just don't feel like anything got built up properly. I found the story incredibly long, incredibly drawn out. This is another long movie, 2 hours, 23 minutes. And I find it very, very uninteresting and boring.
The thing, the movie's 2 hours, but like the first half hour is just Krypton. Then then another 20 minutes is just growing up. So you don't get to Clark Kent Superman. It's probably like an hour 40 left in the movie. So like you getting a lot of stuff before you even get to
and then by the time we do get there, we're like rushed to the point where it's like, oh, like now he feels the need to show off his powers, where in the past he's always grown up with his dad telling him like, oh, you can't be showing off this shit, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm just gonna do it.
All right, so but see, so this is all Superman origin stuff. So it seems like maybe you just don't really like Superman, because this is what they do. Like, I mean,
I just feel like it's almost like handing in half a term paper. Like you gave me the Cliff's Notes instead of telling me the actual.
They did. They're trying to show you Krypton stuff. Because they don't have to show you Krypton stuff. They just tell, hey, this boy is on Earth, But they show you that stuff. Then they show you growing up. They're trying to hammer that in. Did you see Man of Steel? You saw that one?
I didn't actually.
Okay, because it's very similar. It's the same exact thing, where the first like 30 minutes is Krypton blowing up and shit, and then it's him growing up, and then the story starts. It's very similar. So I wonder how you would like Zack Snyder.
Even in addition to the story, which like I find the story like paper thin. Like it's been raining outside for a year. I can push right through this story. The effects used and I understand we're 45 years ago, 1978. For some reason, everything in this movie looks even older than it's an
old looking movie. It definitely does.
And when I think, obviously this is not done by the same company, but Star Wars came out the year before.
Sure.
And to try to compare the effects in Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, to what happened a year later in Superman, it feels like we're a decade in between the technology we have available to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's Lucas. Lucas is just
100%. And I get that, what is it? IFL, whatever. Lucas is
ILM, whatever.
Yeah,
Industrial
ILM.
Light Magic.
Like, yeah, they're like, I get that those people weren't working on the Superman movie.
Sure,
I understand that Star Wars was transcendent for the time because of how it looked. But you could put on A New Hope today, and I understand that it doesn't look as great as like a Star Wars movie today, but still you look at it and you're not sitting there going, oh my God, this looks fucking cheap as shit. Like A New Hope still kind of holds up in the presentation of it. This Superman movie is just, I can't believe it was only 45 years ago. I would have thought it was 65 years ago.
This is why young kids don't watch older movies, because they're like, look at this shit. This shit looks terrible.
But then you have like Lex Luthor, and Gene Hackman is in this movie. He's Lex Luthor, and he's a great, serious actor. Had reservations about taking this role in the first place because he didn't want it to damage his reputation as being a serious actor. And his whole bit is like doing the 60s Fantastic Four cartoon heel thing of like, I am Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mastermind in all of the land. Like the Batman 66 villain type stuff. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Like this was the pinnacle of superhero. Like this is what we thought a good superhero movie was.
People loved it. I said, I do think people like 2 a little like just on par, but people, this is a classic. This is always on a list of top 20 superhero movies. You always seeing a Superman movie pop on that list.
I am shocked like when I went and looked at, because I'm like, Rotten Tomatoes hates everything. What do they think? And I see 94. Yeah, even like IMDb 7.4 out of 10.
Yeah,
Like
it's really good.
75% positive, and the Rotten Tomatoes telling me 94. I'm going, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? I can't believe that this was that movie. Oh, this movie that I've heard people talk about and praise and wax poetic. This was the same movie?
Oh man. I put this on the list because I'm like, I'm not just gonna put bad movies on the list. I gotta put some good ones on here for Joe.
And like I'm going in, like I said, with an open mind. Like I'm looking to have a good time with this movie. And there were times I had to pause it and walk away. I'm like, I gotta get away from this. This fucking sucks.
Oh goodness. That Rotten Tomato score is 94. The audience score is 86%.
Yes.
That's damn good, bro. Wow. And this is just, oh my goodness.
Now, have you seen this before?
Yes, and I rewatched it for this. Yes, of course. I like the movie because it's Superman's story. I get what you mean. It's abbreviated. It seems a little rushed, but they're trying to squeeze a lot of shit in there. Is there something you did like about this movie, Joe?
When it ended, I wasn't even happy because, okay, Lex Luthor sends these torpedoes. They blow up everything, and Lois Lane falls into a ditch and dies. And then Superman goes, I just saved all these millions of people. But because one person died, the only person that I gave a shit about, who doesn't even like me for me. She likes me because I showed up at her way too spacious fucking apartment for being a low-level fucking journalist, that she's got this giant outdoor garden.
Times were different, bro. Journalism mattered, bro.
God only knows what the rent prices were in Metropolis in fucking 1978 for this pad. But this motherfucker goes up into space, flies backwards so fast that the Earth changes its rotation and goes back in time.
Loved it.
Back in time. So he can save Lois Lane. Now, what does that do to the rest of the Earth? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do those torpedoes, do those missiles even get shot in the first place?
Well, he went back far enough to where he was able to stop everything.
Okay, but did he go back far enough to stop Lex Luthor from ever getting control of them in the first place?
No.
How far back did we go? It doesn't look like we went back very far past just pulling Lois Lane out of a fucking ditch. Like the space-time continuum has got to be completely fucked.
Superman fucked up there, bro. You ain't supposed to do that. That's not it's not cool.
How you walk away from this going, oh fuck yeah, Superman. You turn that fucking Earth backwards. Like what?
It's true love, bro. That's love right there. That's why he's supposed to be.
But it's not even true. This is a woman he's known for what feels like, I don't know, 3-4 days. And I'm not saying you can't fall in love in 3-4 days. I've done it in 3-4 hours. When I got engaged fucking 7 years ago, it was literally after about 90 minutes. So I know love. I love love. I ain't turning the fucking world backwards for it, though.
That means you don't love love then. You're supposed to turn. You're supposed to do anything for love. Even
but I won't do that. Proud of that one.
Oh goodness. I'm gonna hit some music, Joe.
Are you a man? A double main man? Are you a man? A triple main man? A man? A quadruple main man? Are you a man? Are you a man?
All right, Joe. Main man standing time. 1978 classic Superman. Oh, baby.
I am here to talk all of this shit about all the movies that you loved as a kid, including this one. This movie sucks. This
Damn.
movie is fucking atrocious. I think it's got some of the worst acting. It's got
man.
some of the most kitschy and fucking corny characters and dialogue. I think the script sucks. I think everything about this movie is fucking terrible. In all honesty, maybe the effects weren't bad for the time, but I would need to be there in the time to gauge it, because my thing is I'm trying to hold it up. I'm going, Star Wars came out a year before this and looked infinitely better than Superman. Everything in this Superman movie effects wise looks like absolute dog shit. It looks like you might as well just be holding a fucking paper Superman to a popsicle stick and waving him up and down to look like he's flying. It looks terrible. This movie sucks. I mean, is it better than Tron? I don't know. I don't think so.
So for what the fuck?
Like, it's not good. It's not good. And the characters are not, like, the Miss Tessmacher character, fucking terrible. Perry White, fucking terrible. Jimmy Olsen, fucking terrible. All these characters around the fringes fucking suck. You all fucking suck. I can't believe. Listen, it's not that people like the movie. I understand you're a Superman fan, or you grew up at that time, or it meant a lot to you as a kid. I understand all that. But for the percentage of people who positively think about this movie to be what it is, are we all on the drugs? Like, what are you on that makes this movie good? Because it is not. It's just not. It's a bad fucking movie. It is a single main man, 1 star, and even then I feel like I'm being generous.
When I put this wheel together, let me tell you, when I was did I ever think Superman would be getting 1 star? This is crazy. Oh my god. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's a 3 star. It's Superman. I like Superman. It's Superman movie. I get it can feel a little crammed, a little rushed, but it's okay. You're trying to hammer home some points there.
Even when Lex Luthor gets brought to prison at the end, like, I would be like, no, officer, this is a case of mistaken identity. And the warden's like, hey, what are you? And he's like, well, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm Lex Luthor, the great criminal mastermind. You don't say that when you're already in prison.
It doesn't matter. He's caught.
You dumb bastard. Have you not learned anything from cop shows? They had them in the 70s. You say, no comment. I need to talk to my lawyer. I'm sure Lex Luthor has enough money to hire a fucking lawyer that would tell him to shut the fuck up and don't admit to being a goddamn criminal mastermind to the goddamn warden of the prison. And did Superman read him his Miranda rights? I doubt it.
He has no jurisdiction.
That's probably why he gets out in part 2, right?
Yes, he has no jurisdiction. He's out before lunchtime. Oh, goodness gracious. Boy, this wheel is not off to a good start.
I have a very complex relationship with the movie wheel.
Man. Oh. Well, this week, the big release is a superhero movie. It's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Joe.
Excited.
Are you excited, baby?
I am, because I love part 1. I love part 1 way more. I thought I might have fun with the original, the first one. What is it, 5 years ago now?
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun, but I walked out of there going, holy shit, what a hell of a time.
Incredible picture. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see what they got Miles up to this time. Oh, so good. So that's our movie this week, Joe. You go with that? You all right?
I'm good.
Take a break from the wheel. We should have a good one.
I'm good with everything, baby. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. Coming up this next Tuesday, the 6th, June 6th, FWF Live 5.
Yeah.
You can watch on the Premier Streaming Network. Defending my tag team titles with Brian Myers, my number 1 very good friend, Bubba. And
Love it.
like everything's coming up shoes right now.
Love to hear.
Except
This is
Superman.
great.
Superman did not come up shoes. Superman should fear me.
Well, I'm happy you watched Little Mermaid then, so at least you had some fun. And you got the Arnold show.
The
So it
Arnold
wasn't-
show is I'm
so it
not gonna
wasn't-
that was a hell of a surprise for something I didn't even know existed.
So it was a good week then, all in all. All right, that's good.
In the words of my man Meat Loaf, who we've already quoted, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Oh, who knew this would be a Meat Loaf episode?
We love Meat Loaf. Have I ever told my Meat Loaf story on this show?
I don't think so. Why would we talk about Meat Loaf, to be honest with you?
So a few years back, I'm at a comic convention with the girl who I met Jodie Benson with. It's the same convention actually, and she has a copy of Meat Loaf's "Bat Out of Hell" original vinyl with her. She wants to get it signed for someone she works with, and she's got like this very complex thing of what the person wanted written, like inscribed on the album. And of course, if you're Meat Loaf, everybody's walking up to you going, "Huh, I love Paradise by the Dashboard Light, man."
Sure.
Every single person. Now, it's not my meet and greet. I'm not paying the guy any money. I'm just standing with this girl. So, like, she's saying, "Oh, I really like this record." Like, well, of course. Like, what else are you gonna say to Meat Loaf? And he looks up at me, and you could tell like he's just fucking done with it all. Like, he's fucking had it. And I go, "Hey, man, I loved you in Spice World." And my man perked up. He got this big smile on his face.
So good.
And then he proceeded to spend the next 10 minutes telling me everything about how he got the role in Spice World, to like what it was like on set of Spice World.
Oh my god.
Like he wasn't even supposed to be in it. Whoever was supposed to be, I guess, the bus driver had to cancel or back out last minute, and he just happened to be wherever they were filming. And they were like, "Hey, do you want to do this? It'll be like 1 day of filming." And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." He's like, "It was some of the most fun I ever had."
Oh,
Yeah.
love to hear it.
So
That's
I got
cool.
this really cool moment with Meat Loaf just from going, "Hey, man, I loved you in Spice World."
And you were telling the God's honest truth.
And I was, because I saw that movie in theaters and I had a good fucking time doing it. No regrets.
I love it, baby.
So next week we got Spider-Man. This week we had Superman, but we also have to finish it off. So JoeMeZ, how about we hit some music?
Oh, baby.
It's now time for the big finish.
All right, Joe, it's big finish time. Let's get this wheel up here. And let's spin it. Round and go. Let's see. Oh. All right. It's a good
Ooh.
one, Joe. Today's big finish. TV dads. This is gonna be good. Here we go.
I'll tell you who's not going to be on this list. Jonathan Kent. Fuck him.
Oh man, that's not nice. Come on. He's
I
a
mean,
good
for
pop.
me, this is, I think, pretty simple. Obviously, this is your opinion, what you like, right? I don't know that you can accurately grade people who were like the preeminent TV dads, but Homer Simpson has been there, feels like my entire life. Al Bundy, absolutely stupendous. And, I constantly go back to Uncle Phil from The
I was gonna
Fresh
say Uncle
Prince.
Phil, yeah, definitely.
I did like Uncle Phil a lot. I don't necessarily know that Tony Maselli would be on that list, although I do love watching Who's the Boss. We had so many great sitcoms in the 80s growing up. And why am I trying to even limit myself to the 80s when the 90s exist too, and then the 2000s exist? Like, does Ross from Friends count? He had a son. I don't think he's a good
I
TV
guess-
dad. He's probably a shitty dad, if anything.
I guess you got to be more, you know, you got to do dad stuff. Ross was too busy out chasing some tail. Wasn't being a dad.
He wouldn't be on that list.
No, he's bad. Let me see, who's a good TV? I'm trying to think of different ones because obviously.
I mean, we always go back to the same ones, right?
Always the same one, right? So what's the show? Who's a good TV dad that we like? Oh man, we watch a lot of shitty dads, don't we?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because like I'm trying to think of like other shows that I watch, like Growing Pains, but like would I put Jason Seaver up there? Like not necessarily.
Tim Allen, right? Home Improvement. He was good.
He was entertaining at least. At least he was gonna put fucking nails through his skull or something. You could laugh at that.
He always taught the kids lessons, right? Sadly, we can't say Bill Cosby because he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I used to love the Cosby Show growing up as a kid. I love that.
You know who I liked? George Jefferson.
George Jefferson.
I have always had a spot in my heart for Sherman Hemsley. I always liked Sherman Hemsley. I used to watch Amen with my grandmother as a kid, and I watched the Jeffersons in syndication. And I always liked when he would say, "Shut up, honky." I used to say that as a kid and get in trouble. Like you can't be calling people honkies. I'm like, well, I don't understand why.
Can I say Darkwing Duck?
You can. Why not? You can say Frank Costanza. You're a Seinfeld guy.
I'm gonna say Goofy. He's a great dad. Him and Max, bro. Come on. That's a good one. I like that. We're gonna say Goofy, Homer Simpson. Maybe Dog. I mean, he was fighting crime when he probably should have been taking care of Gosling. So I don't know. Maybe.
What about Michael Bluth from the Bluth thing?
He tried his hardest. All those people are terrible.
Gomez Adams.
That's a good dad, right? He's always there doing his thing.
Eddard Stark.
You know. Yes, he was a good dad, but he did some things that led to a lot of bad things for everyone.
Ron Swanson became a good TV dad at the end.
Oh, he did become a dad at the end. That's not bad. All right, Joe. Hit him with these plugs. Let's get out of here.
Thank you guys for listening. Remember to follow us all over social media at JoeMeZ. Remember to hit subscribe wherever it is that you're listening to this podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Leave some comments on the YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. Follow all my personal stuff at The Joe Shoes, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, same name everywhere. ProWrestlingTees.com/Joe Shoes. Get that new partner shirt of me and Swoggle outside the castle at Walt Disney World, holding hands and reenacting the iconic Walt and Mickey statue. And make sure you download and check out our special bonus episode that dropped this past Monday with our friend Jeff Manalia from the Council of Jeffs, where we went over Tron. We did our special bonus Tron episode, so make sure you check that out.
Fucking Tron. I'm the Gomez 154, Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to check me out on Twitch, Mez Movie. That's twitch.tv/Mez Movie, baby.
What an episode, Gomez. Action-packed, start to finish, as always. But now, let's make like Tom and cruise.
Peace.